Yo, interwebbers, brethrens, essays, homies, 9B, welcome back to my vids. Hope you're enjoying them. This is your corker. It's one of the ones I've been leading up to, right? It's complicated, but listen, you're going to enjoy this. I'm going to crack straight on with it. So, right, yeah. Day I got out at Shovel. Day I got out of Big House, I didn't even score. I got the fucking crack grant, right, and I went straight to the train station and I got train to Birmingham. Huge city. Enormous. 3 times bigger than Leeds. And I had to catch another train to Oakhampton. And it were in like a secluded, wooded, fielded area of Birmingham. I mean, I didn't think Birmingham had any fields and stuff like that, any countryside, but it did. And it was a short train ride, and I got picked up at train station, and they took me to it with this massive house in its own 6-acre grounds, huge place, and there were about 65 people in it. Now it were run by an American couple. It started in America, did Battelle. But they had headquarters and stuff and houses all over the world, America, Australia, Philippines, you name it. And it was run by this couple called Kent and Mary Alice. Kent Martin, and I think his wife's name was Mary Alice Martin. I'm not sure. And he was a pastor, and it was Windmill House that I went to. And what it was divided into 3 houses. Yeah, house 1, house 2, house 3. House 1, which were on bottom, right, it had about 22 people in it. House 2, right, which were in like an extended part of the building, that had about 16 people in it. And I got designated house 3, which had about 12 people in it, and it went in loft. We had a pet piranha fish called Oscar, and yeah, I landed there. So yeah, I got in shower and that lot, they showed me where I slept and what it was like a dorm. It was like fucking 12 bunk beds. Sorry, 7 bunk beds. And with like odd screen and that lot, you know, like a big room. And they have these things called responsibles, and what it was, you had responsibles, right, and you had second leaders and leaders. Each house had a leader and a second leader. And responsibles or leaders would sleep in top bunk, and normal, you know, guys that had just got in like me slept on bottom. And you know, you were monitored, and you know, straight away I could tell it were like strict. So anyway, I settled in, and they didn't put me to work straight away, you know what I mean? I just had to settle in, and just what you did, I think first day I just helped make tea, because they all worked there, do you know what I mean? Basically they had businesses which brought income in for Battelle. Now, I mean, another thing, right, you imagine, right, 65 housing benefits, yeah, you imagine how much money that is. That's what they were getting. And they had various businesses. They had a gardening business, landscape gardening. They had a restoration shed in its own grounds, right, and they'd get furniture delivered by public, and then they'd get restored in shed, and then they'd have 2 shops in Birmingham city centre where they sold furniture and, like, you know, sofas, beds, drawers, wardrobes, stuff like that, yeah. And what else did they have as well? They did leafleting, they did chariot work, bag packing. They had the fingers into all sorts, do you know what I mean? There were about 3 or 4 businesses that they had. And it were really deep Christian stuff. I mean, when you got there, you got put on this, like, it were like an alpha course, and what that is, it's like the basics of the focus on your 4 Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke and John, and it's just basics, you know, like Bible and stuff. But you know what it is? I found out pretty much straight away within the first few days that I were well above, like, you know, the lads that I were with, that they didn't know the Bible at all, you know what I mean? But I did. I were pretty well versed, and they spotted straight away, right, that you know, I sort of like, I knew I could hold my own. I knew my stuff. Anyway, you know what it is? I had this leader called, I'm gonna fucking say his name, fuck it, Duncan, and he were a right wanker. Yeah, second were a bloke called Morris, this Irish bloke, and I were under Morris's bed. And like, you know what it is, they had a fleet of vehicles as well, right? And I had my driving licence, so I started driving car. And first, yeah, they put me on gardens first. So I started going, right, they'd get a minibus full of lads, right, and they'd go do these cheap jobs, right, you know, they'd undercut other tradesmen in area, you know, because they didn't, you work for no, you know what I mean, you didn't get paid. You got a minimum amount of pocket money, which I think were about £5 a week. But like I say, you couldn't smoke, you couldn't drink, you couldn't do drugs there, you couldn't be on methadone scripts, you couldn't even have painkillers really. You know, it were full on. And I were complaining me because like I say, I had that accident on motorbike, and I also had a cruciate ligament operation as well about 10 years after that. And my right leg, it's fucked, right? It's just gone. And I were moaning. I says, I can't do this. It's just too. My leg were killing me. Anyway, they put me in shed, restoring furniture, and that was much more up my street. I thought, yeah, this is cush, this. And it were run by Ed at Shed, were a bloke called, I'm just going to call him Del, right? Listen to this. It was chief sprayer in Rover. At Birmingham, a big car company, Rover car company. And when it folded, yeah, this guy lost his job, yeah, become made redundant, right? And he got on spirits, and he almost lost his marriage, you know what I mean? And he'd been in Battelle about 10 years. But like, he still had his house, and Battelle pays his mortgage and stuff like that. And he ran Shed. He was a proper sound bloke, really nice bloke, this bloke. He taught me how to spray, taught me how to restore furniture, taught me how to do loads of stuff. Anyway, you know what it is, I got my head down, and I started to enjoy it, actually. It was really good. But you know what it is, you get disciplined as well, you know. I mean, I once got disciplined, right, for not filling the kettle up after I'd used it. And you'd get like washing up, or you'd have to wash vehicles. And I were a bit rebellious, do you know what I mean? And I wouldn't take no shit. And I were always doing discipline. I were always outside washing cars, or I were always fucking washing up hot plates. Because don't forget, you're cooking for, our house had 12 people in it. I mean, that were pretty small. But you know what it is, I sort of like got into it, you know what I mean? But another thing with church as well, right? You got bombarded, you at church 3-4 times a week. And Battelle, it had got 3 houses in Birmingham. There were a woman's house, there were another men's house, and they had Windmill House, what I were in. And yeah, church 3-4 times a week, and they've got their own church. Massive community. You know, they had their own mechanics, their own electricians. It was huge. And I sort of like, I got into it, and I started to, you know, get a relationship with God. And I know some of you might be like, yeah, whatever. But I did. And do you know what it is? I even learnt to play guitar. I found a guitar, right? I've got some strings on it, right? And I tuned it in, right? And I learnt myself to play guitar. And I started to enjoy it. And you know what it is? It got to there, I got my responsibility. After about 4 months, I become responsible. And I were in top bunk, and I had a guy under me. Because what they'd do, right, they'd go into city centre, when you were responsible, right, you could go into city centre doing soup kitchens, and you got this, like, hoodie, Battelle hoodie, and you'd set tables up, right, and all homeless and druggies and stuff, right, that would feed them, and sandwiches and hot cups of tea and hot chocolate, and I used to do this. I used to drive minibuses. It were great, you know what I mean, being off drugs, right, and having come from that situation, I could relate to people that I were like trying to help, and like we'd get them off streets, some were homeless, and they'd come to Battelle, but you know what it is, 90% of them only lasted about 24 hours. They couldn't stand strictness of it, they couldn't stand rules, you know what I mean, and church, you were bombarded with courses, they couldn't hack it. But I sort of like, I knew my stuff, and I got into it. Anyway, I got responsible, but you know what happened? Like I say, Kent Martin, I found out later that I heard that he'd seen potential in me. And he found out that I like knew my stuff. And do you know what he did, right? He put me on I was so proud of myself. Even, well, you're not meant to have pride as a Christian, but I was. And they put me on this course with leaders, spiritual warfare. But I'm not going to go into that now. All I'm going to say is, like, it's like, in fact, I'm not even going to go there because you're just not, some of you are not ready for that one, but I will discuss it later on. But yeah, it was a really high-end course, putting on the full armour of God, spiritual warfare, brilliant course. Oh wow, what I learnt off that. It would, and being with leaders as well, you know, it was something that didn't happen that often. And I got in with Shed, and things were good. But like I say, I would get into trouble. I mean, they had a breakdown truck, right? A great big 7.5 ton Mercedes breakdown truck, and I started driving that. It had flashing lights and a lot. Oh, it were brilliant. But you know what it is, with the senders on fucking bagpacking and stuff like that, which I absolutely hated. And I got out of it because I mean, yeah, I put on my leg a bit, you know what I mean? But I couldn't stand all day, man. It is actually, I've got arthritis in my knee as well. My right leg's just shot. And I hated it. And the senders around the streets doing flyers and the, you know, charity boxes. Hey, you know what it is? I'm going to tell you something about doing charity boxes on the streets, right? Listen to this. You go to an house, right, with a big wrought iron gate, right, and a fancy paved wall, block paved drive with a couple of Mercedes in it, yeah, detached, you know what I mean, really nice. And you knock on the door, right, and they'll be like that. Oh, can you come back later? Or, oh, I've only got 20 quid in my wallet. Or they come up with some excuse, right, and they shut the door. You go to like a council house, right, a terraced end council house, right, where lawn hasn't been cut, no gate on it, lawn hasn't been cut in 3 months, you know what I mean? Door needs a lick of paint, and they'd come to the door, right, and they'd give you a tenner. And that's what I learned on that. And like church, I got into worship and church as well. I got into that. And they had a band, you know, it were electric guitars and drums and music they played, the worship. It were really up to date Christian work. It were brilliant. It wasn't like sat there singing fucking hymns from 17th century, you know what I mean? Fucking, I am the Lord of the dancer, and I lead you. It wasn't none of that shit. It were fucking brilliant. And you know it is that have guest speakers in and stuff like that. We once got this. See, what happens when you've been a Christian for ages and you've lived by God's word, you can get rewarded with gifts, you know, whether it's fucking prophecy, you can get prophecy, or you can get healing gift. We had this guy, this guest speaker, this prophecy, a guy, and he'd do like, it's like a reading almost, you know what I mean? And we'd queue up, right? And he put his hand on my head and he went, You've done really well. God is really pleased with you. You've got an A-star. You've humbled yourself. And I thought about it, and I thought, you know what it is? I thought I would have high-flying graphic designer in a suit and tie who thought he knew everything. And now I'm fucking here handing out leaflets and bagpacking in supermarket. You know, what a, you know, and I suppose I had. And like, you know what it is? I thought to me, I'd been there about 7 months and I was starting to think, right, I need to think seriously, right, whether I'm going to stay here or not. Because winter were approaching, right? And I thought, if I have to leave, it has to be now in summer. I thought, if I'm going to stay, I'm not going to be able to get back to Leeds till next summer. You know what I mean? If I were going to leave, it had to be now. And I thought, you know what it is? I thought, I like it. I thought, I'm going to work to be a leader. I thought I'd be a good leader, mate, you know what I mean? Anyway, like, shed were going well, you know, restoring furnitures. I nearly cut my thumb off with a fucking saw once, cutting a bit of dowel, but you know what I mean, accidents happen, don't you? And, you know, like, my guitar, I really got started good at guitar, and I learned to cook, you know, I'd cook, and it was brilliant, you know what I mean? All these fields around it in its own ground, and I didn't have to worry about, you know, having to score or drugs getting you know, shoved in my face. And it was good. It was really good. I even did I even did a mural on. They found out I could draw, and I did a mural on church wall. I did it with an airbrush, and it's Hands Worshipping. I don't know if you can see that. It was I had to do it on scaffolding. It was 17 foot high, and it would done with an airbrush. And I did it on church thing. Like I said, we even went to a festival. I think it was in Nottingham. It was called Grapevine, like a 3-day festival. And they had a great big extended Ford minibus, and I drove it all the way from Birmingham to Nottingham and got lost. And like they used to send me on errands in car, and you know what I mean? Oh, listen to this. I once get lost in Birmingham city centre. I don't know what I was doing, right? And I've took this slip road off this fucking ring road, and I've gone to this barriers, and it's like a shopping fucking centre. And the lad over here went, oh, he says, don't go through barriers. He says, you up there, get out. We've got no money in us, and you'll have to pay. I says, well, what am I gonna do? Anyway, I thought I'll reverse up slip road, which you're not meant to do. So anyway, I've looked in my mirror, right, there's no there, right, so then I've gone down at a gear stick, and by the time I've put it in reverse, right, and then I've looked in my mirror again, there's no there, and I reversed, bang! Only it's a brand new Mondeo. Guy just bought it. It had a tow bar on it, did this LDV, and it pushed alt bonnet up. I says, mate, I says, you were in my blind spot. I says, I looked in my mirror, you there. I says, you must have drove up, come behind me, and I've looked in it again, and I couldn't see you. But yeah, I got into trouble. I got disciplined for that. I think I washed vans for about 2 weeks. But like I say, I'd get into trouble and stuff, and something happened, right? There were a few things happened, right? This knobhead, right? When I got there, right, the leader were a young lad. It must have been no more than 26. He fell in love with some American missionaries who come, and he fucked off to America, and he was the main leader of all the other 3 houses. And this Duncan, my leader, right, he become main leader, and he shouldn't have been main leader, right? He was a total knob. I've got OCD, me, and I had all my tools in shed all displayed nicely, and everything was organised, you know what I mean? Because I am a perfectionist. And he'd come in and he'd mess it all up, you know what I mean, and laugh while he were doing it. Anyway, to cut a long story short, right, this prick ended up fucking apologising in front of the whole church, right, about 8 months into my stay, and they shoved him off to, I think he went to fucking Norway or Finland or Sweden, some cold fucking country he went to another batel, and got rid of him. Morris left. But anyway, I thought, yeah, I'll stay and I'll become a leader. It were really good, you know. The once me and Del worked with these American missionaries come, and there were me and Del just having a chat. It would on morning when they'd all get together and everyone would be assigned the workplaces, and these American missionaries were talking, and Del we both overheard them, and one of them says, "Ain't it great how God can move mountains?" You know, and me and Del looked at each other, and I said to Del, I says, "Are you going to tell her or am I?" He went, "I'll do it." He says, "It don't mean moving an actual mountain." It says what it is the mountain's your problem that you're going through at that particular time, and it means that it can solve any problem. And like I say, these courses, and I learned more. But yeah, like I say, everything like in my life, it just goes fucking tits up. And do you know what it is? I can't remember what I got into trouble for. I accidentally killed Oscar Piranha. I was cleaning his tank out. I was the only one who did it, and we had water got cut off the building, and it was in like a small bowl, right? And it was struggling, and I ended up getting. I didn't know distilled water would kill him, but it's got no oxygen in it, has it? And I put distilled water in the tank, and we found him floating up. So that it might have been for that. But anyway, right? Anyway, they come to me and they says, "Oh, got this discipline, and you're moving house, and you're losing your responsibility." I went, "Well, I don't mind losing responsibility, right?" I said, "But I'll tell you right now," I says, "I am not moving house." I says, "I've got it all settled here, got my guitar, my photos up, all my, I've got it, I'm happy, you know." But what it is, it's a Christian thing that, you know, if you're getting comfortable, right, too comfy, they do something like that just to disrupt you, to make you a stronger Christian. Do you know what I mean? It mad. Like if you didn't get on with somebody, right, they won't keep you separated. They'd put you together on purpose in one of the shops or something. You know what I mean? And that sort of stuff they did. But yeah, I says, "Listen," I says, "I'm not moving." Anyway, so they says, "Well," I says, "Well, I'll go then. I'm going to leave." And winter were well in. I think it was January. It would either late December or January, but I'd been there a year. It was a year nearly today, and I thought, right, fucking hell, what do I do now? Anyway, I had shed keys, right, still, and Del was saving up for a new floor, and I've gone in shed, sneaked in the shed, and took padlock off drawer, and I've took enough for train fare and some expenses, some money for some train fare and expenses. Packed my stuff. Anyway, they dropped me at the train station. I mean, I had loads of stuff with me, loads of belongings. I even had my portfolios of all things. You know what I mean? And, Anyway, there was a wood next to this local train station in Rockhampton, right? And I put my stuff under all these branches, and I covered them up, you know what I mean, just to store them. And I got a train into main Birmingham City Centre, and I let my hair down. In Christians call this backsliding. You know, when you're handing on that plough, right, when you're looking back and, you know, sins at flesh, you know, that sort of stuff. Backsliding, and I was straight in. I couldn't wait to have a spliff. I couldn't wait to have a pint. First place I went to a pub. Oh, it was lovely. Not smoked, drunk, done no in a year. Anyway, cut a long story short, yeah, I what to call it. I had my train fare, but what it is, because I let my hair down, I'd missed last train back to Leeds, and I thought to myself, oh, fucking hell, I thought, I'm going to have to just sleep rough tonight. Anyway, I'd had a drink and that, like, do you know what it is? I even got on Nest, right? Yeah, I'm not joking. I got on Nest. Yeah, it was a great day. And you know what it is? I thought, I'd really like a fucking spliff. So I'm in this Birmingham City Centre. I don't know anyone, right? Anyway, when you do drugs and stuff, when you look at people, you know, different heads who do what. And it's, you know, if you know what you're doing, it's easy to score. And I've clocked this lad, right? And anyway, I've come up to him. I says, hey, mate, I says, can you get me any Twifter? He went, yeah. He says, have you got some money? I went, yeah, you know what I mean? I didn't have much. So I'll give him a tenner. I said, you're not going to run off, are you? He went, no, anyway, listen, it's right. He walked down the road about 150 yards, right, and there was this end terraced house, right, with a grey door, and he knocked on it, and he disappeared in that house, and he come back, and he got me some weed. So I had a lovely spliff, right, you know what I mean? Anyway, that's when I found out. I found out that I'd missed my last train to Leeds, and I thought, fucking hell. I thought, I'm going to have to sleep rough tonight. And do you know what it is? I started panicking a bit because it was really cold. I mean, it was really cold. And I thought, well, it's not I ain't done before, you know what I mean? I thought, I'll find a derelict house or somewhere to fucking put my head down. I thought, it'll be all right, you know what I mean? Anyway, so I start looking round. Couldn't find anywhere. And I walked around for ages. And it got darker and it got later. It got to about 11:30, 11:45, right? And I was absolutely freezing. I didn't have a thick coat on. And I found this concrete bandstand in this park. I was going through this park. And I thought, oh, it's got a roof on it, but no sides. And I thought, I'll sleep there. And I climbed onto it, right? It was about 4 foot high. Oh, it stunk of piss. Absolutely reeked. I thought, oh, I can't sleep here. It's So anyway, I fucked off, right? I'm walking through this park. Anyway, it gets later. Like I say, we're talking about 12:30 now. Anyway, I fucking started to shit myself. I could see my breath, right? And I was shivering, right? And I thought to myself, I don't like the way this is going. I thought, I'm going to fuck it. I've got a good chance of dying of hypothermia in this park tonight if I don't get anyone where to stay. I thought, what am I going to do? I thought, it's 1:45 in the morning. I don't know anybody. I've got no money for a B&B. I missed my train back to Leeds, right? And I'm going to freeze to death in this park. What am I going to do? And I was just, you know what I mean? I was shivering, right? And I really did start to panic. And I thought, well, what? I've got no left. What can I do? And I just prayed. I just prayed to God. I says, God. I says, if you don't get me somewhere to stay tonight, I says, I'm going to freeze to death in this park. I pray you'll help me. In Jesus' name, amen. And cross myself. And I said it, I said that prayer. Anyway, so I'm walking through this park and I've come to an exit park. And I've looked up and down the street. No, let me just rewind a bit. So I've said this prayer, right, and I've said amen, and I've crossed myself. As soon as I've crossed myself, right, I get this picture in my head. And it's an house. And I notice a grey door. It just come into my third eye. Boom. And I thought, oh. So then I come out to this exit at park and I've looked up and down. And I've clocked this house. And then I've realised, right, that it was house that lad got the weed from, and because I could recognise the grey door, and I thought, oh, it just come into my head, and I thought, well, it's worth a try. Anyway, so I started thinking up what I was gonna say, You know, when I knocked on the door, I went my salesman's pitch. I thought I've got about a window of about 15 seconds before I get door slammed in my face to like try and convince him, you know, to well, I didn't know what was going to happen. Anyway, so I've trotted down the road, right? And I'm oh man, you're not going to believe what I saw, man. I were absolutely gutted. Only a fucking intercom on the door. I thought, that's it. I've fucking no chance now. Not a prayer. Fucking 1:15, 1 o'clock in the morning. Fucking freezing cold. Fucking stranger knocks on the door. Anyway, so I thought, fuck it, and I pressed this fucking intercom. Dee 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 dee. Dee 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 dee. Dee dee dee. Hello? This voice answers, yeah. I says, hey mate, I says, listen, I says, you don't know me. I says, my name's Nick. And I says, I'm from, and I only said that and the door went click. I thought, oh, anyway, this guy, this chubbyish guy's come to the door. Great big wide staring eyes with an Alsatian dog, right? And he's opened the door and I've started to speak and he went, come in. Anyway, we've gone in the house, right? We're in Ortway, right? And I said, and I started my salesman's pitch again. I said, listen, mate, I says, my name's, I says, I'm from Leeds. I says, I've been staying at celebrating a Christian community for a year and I've left. And I said, I've missed my last train back to Leeds. And he went, don't worry. He cut me off again. He went, don't worry. He says, you can stay. He just knew, he knew he can stay. He says, but do me one favour, do me one thing. I went, what's that, mate, what's that? He went, don't rob me tonight. I went, I won't, mate. I says, I won't. I says, I promise. I says, thank you. Anyway, we went into the room, man. Look, this is a true story, is this, I swear to God. I swear on Bible and my mother and father's life, this is true story. And it fucking, oh, man. So anyway, like I say, we've gone in the room. The old wall, where the fireplace was, there was a 3-piece settee facing this wall, and it were wall to wall Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson posters, Michael Jackson gold disc, silver disc, platinum disc, concert stub tickets he'd been, like I say, t-shirts, posters, you name it, Michael Jackson. Now we got talking, right, this guy was schizophrenic. He was a schizophrenic, dog-owning, Michael Jackson nutcase fan. And he'd come up to me like, he's come up, I've sat in chair, and he's come up to me and he went, do you like Michael Jackson? And I went, do you know what it is, mate? I says, I do actually. I said, but I says it's his early Motown stuff, Jackson 5, and I says latest album I go to is probably Off the Wall. I says, you know what I mean? I says, I don't like it. I'm not so keen on his contemporary stuff. I says, but his early Motown stuff, I says, he's absolutely fantastic. Do you know what I mean? So let me go get cat out. Yeah. Anyway, we got talking. He was a really sound bloke, you know what I mean? And we were chatting away. We were chatting till about 2:30 in the morning. And he said to me, he was fantastic. And he got up, he says, I'm off to bed now. I says, listen, he got up. I said, listen, mate. I says, I can't thank you enough. I says, you've saved my life tonight. He went, it's all right. Anyway, it was just about to disappear through the door into Ortway, right? And I says, hey, mate, I says, can I ask you something? He went, yeah, of course. I says, what made you let me in, like? I'm sorry, man, it just gets me, does this. I said, what made you let me in and trust me and let me sleep? And you know what he said? He said, God told me to. I went, you what? He went, God told me to let you sleep, let you in. He didn't know I'd said that prayer in that park. He didn't know I'd just prayed to God for help, for stopping freezing to death of hypothermia. And he says, God told me to. And you know what really blew it for me? This is icing on cake. It disappeared, right, door shut. And my peripheral vision out of the corner of my eye, yeah, the wall behind me that I didn't see, I hadn't looked at yet. Turned around and I looked at it, yeah, and it were wall to wall crucifixes, effigies, pictures of Jesus, pictures of Mary, Bible verses, quotations, wall to wall, just like the Michael Jackson wall to wall, all framed, big crosses, crucifixes. And that, I just, what can you say to that? And that night, God saved my life. And that's a true story, is that. Don't know what poem I'm going to do for you next, but we've got 10A and 10B coming up. So listen, take care of yourself, yeah? Hope you've enjoyed that. Catch you later.